these two boxes of Rallyman are jam-packed with possibilities, and it's my intention to highlight all of the interesting things you can do with them. This is Shakedown. In today's Shakedown, we're going to see what we can do to make a big track fit onto a smaller table using a website every Rallyman fan ought to know about. I like big tracks, and I cannot lie, but as many of you have seen, even on a big table, we can be pushed for space when it comes to some of them. When I was recreating Gran Turismo circuits for Rallyman, I wasn't thinking about how big or small they'd be, it was what they looked like that was important. This is Grand Valley Speedway in all of its grandeur, but at 28 tiles it's quite the table hog, and the GT7 redesign doesn't do anything to change that. So, taking inspiration from Gran Turismo for the PlayStation Portable, can we condense this circuit into something more manageable, yet still retain its character? To do so, we'll be making use of the Rekee website. It's not a magical Rallyman circuit shrinker, but it is a track editor that allows us to plop down tiles and render out rulebook-like images for everyone else to follow and recreate a circuit themselves. And it should be a website that every Rallyman fan checks out and plays around with. I'm going to load up Grand Valley Speedway and show you how Rekee works, and the end result of trying to shrink it will be whatever we're racing around today. A lesser Valley Speedway, if you will, though that sounds a little too negative, but you know what I mean. We're going to be racing in the GT4 today, sunny start, asphalt tyres, nothing remarkable there, and we're going up against 3 more GT4s under the direction of O'Daly's driverless cars, this time at veteran difficulty. I might want to start at the front of the pack for that, but before we work out the starting grid, we need a circuit to race on. So this is the Rallyman Rekee website. It's basically a hex grid on the right and a bunch of tiles on the left. If you do not see all of these options for the tiles, then head into the catalog tab, and that will allow you to turn on and off the various expansions and base games, and whatever is on in here will be viewable on the left. I like to leave everything on so that I can pick from everything that is available. We are only going to need the asphalt tiles today, so we can click onto the asphalt to make sure we don't accidentally select a snow tile. It is unlikely, but you never know. And the final thing that we are just going to have a look at is the upload button. That will allow you to upload an RGT file you have previously downloaded or perhaps made with another track editor and bring it into Rekee to work on once more. So this is the RGT file for Grand Valley Speedway, all 28 tiles of it. If you head to the information button on the top, you can see that it is comprised of the core box and all of the GT expansions. 28 tiles, as I say, and we want to condense that down to something that is more manageable. At the same time, we do want to keep this iconic shape. So when I think of Grand Valley, I think of the 2 hairpins, one at the top and one down here, the sort of leg of Grand Valley Speedway. And I also think of this weird little oval thing at the bottom. That's where we go through a couple of tunnels, over a bridge, into another tunnel, before coming back out towards the start-finish line. So I want to try and keep this shape, but I want to condense it as much as we can. So where do we start in trying to address this problem? I'm going to start with the first corner. That will be this hairpin, tile 114A. This is staying as it is. I like this tile choice. So what we're going to do is base our circuit around this. And to get rid of some expansions, we're going to replace the start-finish straight with tiles from the base game rather than the Team Challenge expansion. So I'm just going to drop in 104 over there. We'll drop in 102 for the start line, and we'll drop in another 104 over here. And what I will then do is pull up this 118 and make that start line shorter. So already we're going to try and squish all of this track up towards the top right corner, and that will keep our minds focused on squashing it down rather than keeping with this scale. This bottom hairpin is miles away by the looks of it, so we need to address that next. And if we're just squishing things down, then I want to try and replace multiple tiles with just 1 or 2. Now currently, because I was focused on trying to get the length of this hairpin, I've actually got 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 tiles in the place of 1 tile. So we could, for example, use, let's see, 109 to represent this hairpin. That would already cut down all of this long hairpin into 1 tile, which is a nice way of keeping things condensed. We could also do something like, I think there's a small hairpin with a 123. That's obviously looking a little too small. The other option we have maybe is 128, I think. That will keep a fast hairpin in gear 3, I think it is. There is a magnifying glass button to see your tiles if you need it. So 109 is a tight hairpin, gear 1, but I do like the number of spaces we've got on the run up. So I'm thinking 109 is probably the choice to go with here. That will mean that we can get rid of a couple of these tiles. It also means that we have to get rid of some of the joining tiles because we have the split spaces and the flat spaces. So we need to clean up the entry and exit to 109, but that won't be too much of a problem. That also needs to be put closer to the circuit. So if we smush up those, actually, if we put them that way and get rid of 129, now we're on to something there. So we've got the top hairpin coming down into the bottom hairpin, which means that we've gone from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tiles in height, if you will, down to 4. Hopefully we can keep it that way. We will have to do some remodeling of this part of the course in order to try and get 2 roads into what is currently 1 tile wide. But let's see how we go. Let's see if we can join 109 to the 111, 17 complex here. Now these are both pretty slow hairpins. We've got a 2 into a 1. I don't really want to use another 2. I do want to try and keep this a faster corner. Now the only fast corner I can think of is 136. You will see on the left here that it is grayed out. That is because we're already using it down here for the oval, but you can still drag in tiles from the sides. It will just tell you that you have used more than what you would get in your selected catalog. So in this case, we would need 2 of the various expansions that has 136 in. Don't worry about that because we will delete it from this space, and now we are back to our correct tile count. And this means that we are going into a slow hairpin, coming up for a long exit before we go through a fast corner, into a slower corner, into another slower corner, and then into the tunnel towards the back half of the track. So I like the look of that so far. Right, we have a chicane at the back. It's currently being represented by 4 tiles, 138, 107, 122 and 137. Just like we did at the hairpin down here, can we choose to represent all of this corner in 1 or 2 tiles? And on the left I can see that 135 is looking promising. That would be a quick left-right chicane, which is basically what we've got here. The difference is that we are going to allow for a faster speed through unless we go through the outsides and have to drop down to speed 1 and mess up our entries through the chicane. But the ability to squash 4 tiles down into the space of just 1 is exactly what we're looking for when we are trying to condense a circuit. So I think we can do that. If we get rid of all of those, and then we can put 135 somewhere down here. We don't quite know where it goes exactly, but we are going to try to link it up. Right, in the middle, we know that 130 has to go because we are going to need to use this tile. So if we get rid of that, and if we just put in a placeholder, I'm probably going to need a 106. That will allow us to focus on our entry and exit to this oval section without worrying about getting the exact tiles right. You don't need to get everything perfect on the first tile you pick, so don't worry about that. Because we are therefore using a 106, we're not going to use 121 either. And then we can start to pull over our tiles and see what we need to do. So already we are over here somewhere, and we've got already a shape, but it certainly doesn't look like Grand Valley. So what can we do next? For starters, we're going to need to have 135 actually join up with the rest of the track. So let's get rid of that tile, and we will put in, let's think it's 120 something, 122, that'll fit there. And we also need to get rid of 138 and replace it with 129, I think it is, or 130, 129, there we are. We have gone around the corner in the tunnel, through the chicane, and have joined up to the dangerous tile 118 back onto the start-finish straight. So this part of the track is looking good, but we need to focus on this bit in the middle, which is a bit of a mess, and then we can plug the gap over there. That is not a problem at all. Let's see. I want to get rid of that. That doesn't fit at all. And what I like to do is whenever I see a 3-lane wide and a 2-lane wide, I do like to join them up with 120 and 119. Just a little visual thing. Doesn't have much gameplay difference. So you don't have to use it, but I do like it when I can get away with it, and I can certainly do so like that. That'll allow us to keep the feel of going into a small little tunnel and then coming out over a bridge. In fact, what we could do, because 106 is a placeholder, we might even put down 115B to represent a tunnel. But again, I've just talked about 3 lanes and 2 lanes wide. While this is certainly playable in terms of Rallyman, I do prefer to use the same lane counts where I can. But if you like going through the visuals of a tunnel, you can certainly do something like that. I'm going to keep 106. And so we need something down here. Let's put in 117. To give us something to think about rather than just another blank space. That would complete our track. In terms of getting the details, I wonder if those 2 tiles should be swapped around, or maybe that they should go in that shape. Tile 116 is quite handy in that, depending on how you align it, it can make a track feel sort of squished or bigger than it actually is. So I think that'll be down to preference. I mean, in terms of gameplay, there is not much difference between coming in on a left apex or a right apex. But I think in terms of shape, I'm going to stick with this layout in order to give it that condensed feeling, and that it's closer to 136 than it actually is, for example. It's a little visual thing, but anything we can do to make a track look good, then we certainly want to do that. The last thing that we need to do then is to export this as an image. Before we do that, we are going to name it Lesser Valley Speedway. There we are, and we are Rekee-ing. You can go into settings here and choose your export scale. We're going to choose extra large for all of the detail. The export style, the header is what we've just written, that's the track name and the author name, and the tile listing is just a list of tiles that you'll need to recreate the circuit. That is going to make it look like it's from the rulebook, and it will also mean that we can turn off the tile labels. The tile labels are the ones that appear on the circuit itself. If you press and hold the L key, you can see them and reveal them as and when you are working on the track itself. And you have two options for downloading and exporting. They are called download and export. Download will give you an RGT file which you can share with other people, and anyone can then upload it to Rekee to work on and play around with. And export is to get an actual image that you can print out and keep in your Rallyman box to recreate a circuit on the tabletop, which is what I'm about to do right now. And here we are at Lesser Valley Speedway. We've got a printout from Rekee that is big enough to race on, and we also have a physical Rallyman circuit that is small enough for our table. We have randomly been put into third position on the starting grid. Because we're up against the driverless cars, we're going to have to be smart about how and where we overtake them, because we can get up to speed 4, but they can get up to speed 5 on the straights. Let's kick things off and see how we do. The orange car is going to go first on the inside lane. At veteran difficulty, they are rolling 2 coast die and a brake die to see how many spaces they move. There is 1 hazard, so the orange car, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces of movement, heads towards the outside of the first hairpin and will end in gear 2. The blue car behind them is going to move 6 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Thanks to that long space, they are only as far as the orange car ahead of them. We're next. We would like to try to get an overtake done, if at all possible. So let's stick down our gears. We've got 3 coast die available to us. So that'll be a nice safe start, and we can go up to 4. Then we would have to break down very quickly into gear 1 on the next turn. But we have enough brakes to do that. You know me, I like focus pull. So flat out it is. We've got 1 hazard on the 3, but we are going to take the inside of the first corner in gear 4. I'm going to take turn order for the next round, and we're also going to get 7 focus tokens to offset any problematic dice. Finally then, we have the purple car, and the purple car is going to move 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but they're going to end on a straight in gear 5. So they're not going to move very far, but they do take turn order. Hasn't lost control, and it's unlikely that they will. Such is their difficulty. They are going to end in gear 2 at the back of the pack. And then it is our turn, and we need to break down to gear 1 for the hairpin. And then I want to get away as fast as I can. So I'm going to use the long space, and then I'm going to coast towards the little kink in the corner there and end on the inside lane in 4th gear. I am going to roll those one by one. We have some focus. The breaking down to 1 is good, the 2 is good, the coast is good, and the 3 and the 4 are fine. Hazard on the 3, but not enough to lose control. We come all the way over here in 4th gear. Could have gone flat out. You're never to know. The blue car is going to try to hunt us down. Moves 6 spaces again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're going to end on the inside of the corner in 3rd gear. And the orange car is also going to move 6 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we are into the 3rd turn already. We have the lead. Can we keep it? We are coming up to a dangerous curve and then slowing down for a gear 1 hairpin. Do we want to tackle both of those in the same turn? I think we are able to, let's play it safe. Let's go and coast in fourth. Then we can drop to 3, have a safer breakdown to 1, and then come out in second gear there. I think that will be the best thing to do, because our driverless cars behind will be probably ending on this tile and therefore take the gear of the corner. So they will be in gear 1 unless they are on this tile, in which case they'll be in gear 4. But I think we can gum them up in this technical section. I'm going to go flat out on those. They are a set of safer dice. 2 hazards. It was close, but we get 6 focus for that move as we go around the hairpin and take this long space in second gear. 6 focus. Okay, behind us then is the blue car. They are going to move 6 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They are going to end as expected in first gear on the corner. The orange car is going to move 6 as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're in the long space in first gear. And then the purple car all the way at the back is going to move 5 spaces. Okay, so the purple car kicks things off and moves 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right on the inside in gear 4. And then we have a set of corners to navigate, but because we are nimble in our GT4s, we can drop to first gear and come through like that. Could make use of the long space, but I don't think we get much benefit if we do, and it would cause us to take a hazard for crossing a sharp cornered dotted line. So I'm going to do something like that. We have all the focus we need, so one by one to maintain this lead. There's 1 hazard on a coast, and we are second hazard on the 3, so I better pay for the 4 to maintain our lead. Now put us there in fourth gear. It's looking comfortable, I must admit. Behind us though is the blue car. They want to move 6 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're going to end in 5th gear. So I said it was looking comfortable, and it is now immediately not so comfortable. What can the orange car do behind it? The orange car is moving 6 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 2 cars that are threatening to overtake on the next turn. Let's see how they go. The blue car is going first. The blue car is moving 6 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And they're going to come out in 5th gear again. The orange car is also moving 6 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They are gummed up on the corner in 2nd gear. That is going to affect us. We need to drop down to 2nd gear at least for this corner. Can we have to get around the orange car. That will put us in the outside lane. We won't be able to overtake them fully because of the blue car. The orange car will have turn order on the next turn from its inside lane position. So unfortunately, that is the best we can do. I might as well go flat out to get a little bit of focus. No hazards, and we are on the outside as we come through the second tunnel towards what would be a bridge. And then we see what the purple car can do from the back. Doesn't look like it's threatening anybody. 6 spaces of movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's in second gear on the corner. It's proving tricky to overtake the blue and the orange car. The blue car is going to go first. They want to move 6 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Puts them in third gear. And the orange car is going to break turn order against us for being on the inside of the corner. They only move 4 spaces, however. They rolled 2 hazards on their dice. So 1, 2, 3, 4 puts them in the outside lane in gear 1. So we may have a chance against the orange car. It is us to go next, and we want to capitalize on that. So we need to be in gear 1 here, and we need to be at least in gear 2 next to the orange car. I would like to probably come out in second gear there, and so we will need to be in third gear to overtake the orange car and then break down to first gear. I'm just going to roll that and see what happens. We're going to go one by one. The coasts are good. The 3 is good. Breaking down to 1 is good. And the 2 is good. We've got the purple car at the back, making up the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces of movement. They are going to end in gear 3. As we come to the last few turns, I suspect the blue car is going to take us through the chicane first. They're going to move 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're going to end in gear 4. And have they done enough to stay in front of us? We don't know yet because it is the purple car's turn. Purple car moves 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They are in 5th gear. It's an unlikely comeback for them, but we will see how they manage. So can we catch up to the blue car and, importantly, take turn order from it? I believe we have the dice to do it. We just have to get into 4th gear. So a run like that, provided I've not gone over any speed limits accidentally, will put us there in 4th gear. And that's exactly what we want to try and stay ahead of the blue car, although there is a straight coming up, so they might end in 5th gear and get us on the last turn. Let's hope that doesn't happen. One by one, we have hazard on the 3 and a hazard on our second coast. It's going to cost 6 focus to pay for those last 3 dice, so we're going to do that. We have enough focus, and we definitely want the position on the inside in 4th gear. So we are going to take that no matter what it costs. And then finally, the orange car coming into the little hairpin. It's only going to move 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. Puts it there in gear 3 as it tries to save 3rd place from the purple car. So we are coming up to the finish. I don't think we have enough dice to get there, which is unfortunate. 4, 3, no, 2, 1. So we are 3 dice short on this section of the track, which means that the blue car will come into 5th gear. So we are fighting for 2nd place, unfortunately. In that case, we want to try and end in a high gear to make sure we fend off the orange car. And so we will do something like that, and we'll see how we go. There is a hazard on our first dice. I have enough to pay for this braking maneuver, but I'm going to risk it. There is a hazard on one of the brake dice, so that's another 6 focus to pay for the last 3 dice. We're going to end in this space in 4th gear. As the blue car shows us how to win on the last turn, as it moves 6 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It wants the outside of the upcoming corner, but because it is on a straight, it's going to end in gear 5, even though the GT4s can't reach it normally. We have completely forgotten about the purple car because it was so far at the back. So the purple car is going to move 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that should have happened before everybody else. Only ends in gear 1, so it is still nothing to worry about. As the orange car moves 5 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is on a gear 5 corner, so it ends in gear 5 as well. The blue car probably takes itself over the line. Yes, it does. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces to take a victory. The orange car then is going to move 6 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Comes alongside us in 5th gear, threatening, but we get to move next, and we're just going to throw 3 coast die as we go flat out over the finish line with a couple of hazards. So we come in 2nd place. And finally, the purple car at the back moves 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ends in 4th gear, but has not done enough for on the next turn. We're going to see the orange car cross the line to come for a 3rd place finish around Lesser Valley Speedway. Could you have beaten these driverless cars? I bet you could at least have made some smarter decisions than I did. A lot of circuits have RGT files available to download, allowing you to print them out in whatever format and size suits you best. But now that you know how to use Rekee, I encourage you to tinker with the track and swap out tiles you don't like or don't have in your collection, for example. Better yet, start with a blank canvas and share your creations with the community. I look forward to racing on them.